to the 10th episode of the Happiness Project, and thank you for tuning in. As you all know, my podcast is now listed on 8 plus platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and Google. And with the staunch support from you guys, it is reaching to so many places and so many people. Please keep sharing all your learnings and experiences of how my podcast has transformed your life in every little way possible. Moving on to the episode today. You must have heard this from various sources in different ways that it's not about what happens with you, but it's about how you react to what happens to you. Or it's not about the situation, but it's about you in that situation. Or life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Or you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. Now, what does all of these sayings refer to? What does this really mean? These sayings simply refer to how we deal with, manage, and react or respond to what happens around us. Think about this. Since the time we wake up, we are constantly reacting, consciously or unconsciously, to the dynamic environment. We react to broad range of stimuli every day, and most of the times our reactions are not well thought out or are usually incidental. You cannot control everything that happens to you, your family members or your friends. You could have a wonderful job, but the next day you might have to leave the job due to various circumstances. You would have been in a wonderful relationship, but you might have to end the relationship because of timing or expectations. You might have everything that you ever dreamed of, but have it all gone by tomorrow. You might think that everything is in control, but no matter how much in control that you think you are, you can't define the next moment. Life is full of constant, unknown circumstances. Sometimes it's scary, and sometimes you just surrender yourself to the universe and let it all work out for you. We all need to understand that we are not alone in the events that occur in our lives. What I mean is that whatever event that has taken place in your life, someone else has already experienced something similar. What happens to us is about the same as everybody. It's how we react to it that makes a difference in the way we experience life. Now you're going to say, "Oh, you don't know, it's been a devastating feeling. I'm sulking into it." Everyone experiences a feeling of sadness at some point in their lives. No one is happy all the time. But the question here is, what are you doing about your pain? Or, for that matter, any emotion that is holding you back? What are you doing about all of it? Suffering? Fearful of the decision that can change the entire course of your life? Or do you want to remain the victim in your entire story, wherein on the contrary, you have a choice here to simply rise above and beyond by taking control of your life, by simply learning how to react, and sometimes how not to react to everything and everyone. What I'm trying to say is that we are controlled by the blame game that we play. Oh, he did this to me, so I reacted. Or, if the situation were any different, I wouldn't have reacted. Or I would have acted differently. But look, this is what it is. And it all comes down to, what are you going to do about what it is? If you look back in life, there will be so many people who might have caused you pain, created a chaotic experience of emotions in your life, whether it happened to you a day ago or years ago. You have a choice to make a decision of how you want the rest of your life to be. You cannot change your past reactions, but you can definitely change the course of your reaction from now on, can't you? And that one choice is exactly what will define the outcome of your life. And the best part is, we are given this opportunity every single day. Whether do you want your past to control you, or do you want to release it, let it go, and move into the future with excitement and joy? Some people have mastered the art of finding the negative and the bad in every situation. These people find a problem in every solution. For them, the question of what can I learn from this experience doesn't really occur as much as these people make my life hell, or why does this always happen to me? You cannot allow other people to define your self worth. You cannot be looking for validation from the outside. Look, I'm not trying to say that you can't be sad or upset or even angry. Of course, you can be, and that's exactly what makes you human. But more importantly, only when you feel these emotions will you know what other emotions like joy, gratitude, and happy feels like. But we can only control one thing. We can try to control our thinking, our reactions, and our mind. We can try to control how we look at our lives and how we look at the world around us. We can try to control how we view our tragedies and hardships. And we can try to hold on to the good things, to the better and brighter things, rather than holding on to people and events that causes us pain and suffering. There is a possibility that you think it's all easier said than done, but trust me, I'm talking from my personal experience in the way my life has shifted by simply learning when not to react. This way, I've learned how to respond more than react in situations and events in my life. And now I've learned the art of filtering people who drain my energy. I've gained back the control on my emotions and how I feel by simply coming back to my center and reciprocating from a place of stability and clarity. All it requires from you is to simply understand that you are a work in progress and that you need to recognize that you always have a choice as to what attitude you want to exemplify. You have a choice of how you want to react to everything that has happened in your past. And you also have a choice to overcome the odds despite of whatever life throws at you. Look, the fact remains that life can be hard and uncertain, but we always have a choice as to how we react. There is a beautiful quote that I read. It says, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space is our power to choose our responses. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Honestly, no one was born with these skill sets, neither was I. There have been times in my life when I've reacted more than I should have, and later realized that I could have dealt with the situation in a much better way. And most of the times, the realization was quite instant, like right after the incident. And these are the events that got some insight on how my reaction can be altered. So I started using a few approaches. I realized how I can have a wonderful day every day despite of what happens in the entire day. I decided to move away from the chaos and into the calm. I found my center by meditating and practicing grounding, by simply being present, seeing what I can see without interpreting or even questioning any thoughts. With practice, I started becoming more aware of how my body feels when I react and how my body feels when I don't react. I learned this art by creating a structure around me where other people no longer had the power to affect me. Their validation no longer influenced my life choices and decisions. Know that the only environment that you and I can control is the internal environment. How we interpret situations and the type of questions we ask ourselves will play a big role in this process. As long as you find your peace within yourself, you will learn how to react less and have a relaxed attitude towards everything in life. Secondly, try not to react in the moment. Pull yourself back from the situation. Look at the bigger picture. Compose yourself. And then look at the entire situation from various perspectives. The moment you take a step back, you'll start recognizing that with very little practice, how your attitude towards situations have changed in a better way, where you find yourself much more in control. And only when you are in control, you will be able to think clearly. That's when you need to ask yourself, do these series of events or situations concern the things that are in my control or not? If they are not in my control, then can I train myself to not worry about it at all? What really frightens and dismays us is not external events themselves, but the way in which we think about them. It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance. Don't demand or expect that events happen as you would wish them to. Accept events as they actually happen. That way, peace is possible. We need to learn to differentiate what we can control and what we cannot control. Within our control are our opinions, aspirations, desires, and the things that repel us. They are directly subject to our influence. It is not external events themselves that cause us stress, but the way in which we think about them, our interpretation of that event, and the way we attach meaning to those events. It is our attitudes and reactions that give us trouble. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. And ultimately, we are responsible for our own lives. I want to end this episode by Walter Anderson's quote. It says, I am responsible, although I may not be able to prevent the worst from happening. I am responsible for my attitude towards the inevitable misfortunes that darken life. Bad things do happen. How I respond to them defines my character and the quality of my life. I can choose to sit in perpetual sadness, immobilized by the gravity of my loss, or I can choose to rise from the pain and treasure the most precious gift I have, life itself. Thank you for joining me this week on the Happiness Project. Stay tuned and make sure you never miss a single episode of the show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for all your support. And if you like this episode, please share it with as many people as you can. Because sometimes all it takes is one push for someone to transform their lives. Let this podcast be that push.